You gotta stack the twisties like how they stack produce at the markets, like when they put the potatoes and on for display, and they have like 5 kina.
Let me see that. Oh no, that's
Yeah,
nice.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's really good. You didn't do this one properly, though.
Because those are yours.
So you're the twisties guy. Oh wait. Oh wow, my mic is quite picking this up. Good.
Oh,
Okay.
more than usual.
Alrighty.
That was not me.
That was
was
me.
not an Android notification sound.
Okay. Alrighty. Let's go, shall we? Daniel, are you ready? Okay, it's fine. You don't have to. You can leave it. Okay, cool. 3, 2. Hey everybody, and welcome to Not Culture, the podcast about everything but culture. I'm your host, Godfrey McCaptigow, joined by my... what are you this week, Daniel?
Top Gun fan.
Top Gun fan, Daniel Levi. And today, we're going to get straight into it and talk about our experience with both Top Gun and Top Gun Maverick. Because straight off the on the table, off the bat, whatever... Personally, I was not going to watch this movie at all. I saw good reviews on it, and I was like, oh, okay, it must be good then.
Like, I knew the history. I knew that it was, like, a significant, like, good movie from back in the 80s, but I had no intention of watching Maverick.
Yeah. So it was just, it came completely out of nowhere. When we were at a work meeting, of all places, and one of our good friends, who also gave us a suggestion to try out Coke and Twisties, something that I have not done before. Or at least I haven't done in recent memory, right? So I'm going to try that today. That is why we have Coke and Twisties. As a shout out to our friend who suggested this, Bronwyn Wright. Thank you so much. I think you could call us Top Gun fans now.
Yeah.
Because, okay, so my only exposure to Top Gun has been just people making fun of that volleyball scene. And now that I've seen that scene, I get it. It was very gay. It was very, very erotic of the homo sense.
Like a lot of obligatory shirtless, sweaty men shots.
I mean, let's be honest. In that first movie, everyone was sweating.
God, everyone. There was
like
no
an
AC.
unhealthy
There
amount.
was no
of
air
sweat.
conditioning in the 1980s. I'm convinced.
No, absolutely. No.
God.
I swear. I every time I watch it, I was just like, this movie is so moist, because everyone is just so wet all the time with sweat. Yeah, it was just really distracting. But yes, so, sorry, back onto the topic. Me and Dan actually went to see Top Gun Maverick yesterday, and just several hours before that, we watched the first Top Gun from 1986 for the first time ever.
So, like, in the last 24 hours,
We
we're like
saw-
the biggest Top Gun fans right now.
Weirdly,
Oh, man.
and I gotta say, after watching the first movie, I thought it was gonna be a drag, but it was actually the opposite of a drag. It was a good time.
Oh, yeah.
It was like, I didn't walk out of it saying, oh my God, this movie's amazing. I thought it was like, hey, this is like a really nice story about overcoming tragedy and trusting yourself and, you know, all that nice stuff.
Wait, part 1 or part 2?
Part one.
Oh, yeah. Part 1, yeah.
And then it got me really excited for this. I saw the trailer for the second one, which I had for the first time. I didn't see it the first time because I just wasn't interested. And then now, went to see it last night. Possibly the funnest 120 minutes in the cinema that I've had this year. Like, next to Multiverse of Madness. In terms of cinema fun experience. Yeah, it was great. Yeah. So that's my run-up in relationship. Well, at least our run-up in relationship with the Top Gun movies. So, let's jump into it and talk about, first of all...
Part 1?
No, we can just fully on the second one.
Okay.
Because I don't... like I said, I wasn't too crazy about one. I thought it was just a nice, enjoyable movie. It did surprise me because, well, my expectations were really just down here for it. But like one of those planes, you know, just just the thing. But yeah, no. Let's talk about Maverick because it's such a good movie. Unironically, technically, just incredible. And first of all, let's give our spoiler-free thoughts for all the good people who haven't seen it. minus all of that pack of Americans that we walked past.
Yeah,
outside
no,
of the
all in Top Gun shots. I was so jealous.
There's the. Jeez, we walked out and there's just like pack of Americans just standing there. Like, oh my god.
This is after we just finished watching Maverick.
Yeah, and it was so weird, and we wanted to talk about it, but then we couldn't because we pointing it for them. So, yeah, that was crazy. But since it just came out, let's discuss spoiler-free thoughts. So, first of all, Top Gun Maverick is the sequel to the 1986 action classic. It is directed by Joseph Kosinski, who also directed 2013's Oblivion, where he also worked with Tom Cruise, and 2010's Tron Legacy, which is another legacy sequel to an 80s film. All right. So I feel like I've been talking a lot. Dan, you just start with your spoiler-free notes. What do you think?
Oh,
and I'll
gosh.
just dig into this.
It is a very fun and exciting movie. There's so many good nods to the original. Nothing too like obligatory, but so many fun nods to the original. It's written very well. The characters are done very nicely. There's no annoying characters. There's no.
If there are annoying characters, they're written with that purpose, and they grow. Holy shit, they grow and become better characters in that time. That was one of my takeaways from it. But
it's definitely a more exciting movie in the sense compared to the original. In the sense that in this one there are stakes. There's something.
Absolutely. Bigger, more important. Oh no, bigger stakes than the last movie. Yeah. Definitely, absolutely.
Like I'd compare the first one to I'm in school and it's a competition. I gotta be the best in the class. Yeah. To part 2 being we're already the best of the best, but now we're being selected to do something very specific.
Absolutely. And no, they just take that and run with it, and they use it so well in so many unexpected ways that mother donuts in so many unexpected ways that just outshine the original by a mile in so many aspects. And I'm talking about the storytelling, the script, the dialogue, even especially. And I'll die on this hill because I am an editor. The editing of this movie. Oh my God.
There's one sequence where it's essentially a training montage, but it's edited together so well, and there's a scene where Maverick's character is explaining to them like, what did you do here? What went wrong here? And then he explains the consequences of his actions. Like, if you did this in the field, this is what happens. And he says this line. I don't really think it's a spoiler, but he says, what are you going to tell their families?
Something that their families would accept.
Something that the families would accept.
And then jeez.
Which, if you've seen part 1, you'll know that.
Because the first movie takes some unexpectedly dark turns. At least I was not expecting. Yeah. And then this one, I don't want to spoil or say anything that might spoil, but it almost leans in that direction while playing with it in a very smart way. And I thought that was incredible. I thought that was really, really well done. But that was one of my favorite sequences that you mentioned, that training montage. It's just the culmination of everything. It happens around halfway through that particular sequence. But it's such a good movie in the sense that it takes everything from the first one and just expands upon it, which is everything that a sequel should be. I mean, you take a look at sequels like T2, Judgment Day. You take a look at Aliens, even though one is an example of genre switching. This sort of, it doesn't do that, but it does everything a sequel should in terms of taking that story, taking these characters, the universe, and then just evolving that in unexpected ways or expected ways while changing things. And I thought it nailed that perfectly. And I could talk about this separately as its own thing, but just the way they use tension in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Tension and stress, I think. You're going to be on the edge of your seat a lot when you go to see this. And please go see this because, oh my God, we'll get to that in the end. But the way it uses tension to not only, make scenes a little more interesting or special, the way they used it to make characters and writing decisions matter at different points in the movie, I thought it was excellent. It was pretty... it's so difficult to talk about this without spoiling it, so... what else can we say?
I'd like to add, I think what you mentioned there about the tension is it's a very I want to say smart action movie because it uses like it's obviously it's based around warfare, air combat, and there's there's explosions and stuff like that. But I wanted to I wanted to add on to what you were saying about tension, where each explosion in this movie serves a purpose. It's not like a Transformers movie where
It's not a Michael Bay film.
yeah, explosion, fire, what's that, like the set pieces matter. When something explodes, there was someone in there. It was for a purpose, and it just serves the story and the plot. Everything, like each explosion and each action sequence, has a job to do.
That's it. Yeah, essentially, it's very. It's very reserved action filmmaking where it's not just gratuitous action. It's action for the sake of the story or the drama or the relationships between these characters. And these characters are so good. Oh my god. For like, let's just say 80%, 90% of the cast are new faces. You only get Maverick obviously coming back and doing the thing or his thing in this movie. Can't really say what that is. But it does such a good job of making these characters, like, making them matter, making you care for them, which is difficult to do, especially with shitty written characters. But these characters are written so well that it's their relationships with each other that solidifies their characters, which it's a home run to the entire theme or idea about this movie with teamwork and getting a goal accomplished. Because, oh my gosh, that's something I think the first one was missing.
Yeah,
it didn't have. It felt like because
yeah.
it was a school setting, it was students that were against
competing
each other.
with each other. Yeah.
But it's like in this movie, it's taking. If you've seen the trailer, this isn't a spoiler. It's taking the best of the best. These are all Top Gun graduates that have were top of their field and they came out. This is all of them. Just working together to accomplish a goal, and that's something that the first movie was missing. That's something this movie has, and it draws just such a fine point onto that. And in purposes of the story, it basically gives all of them a goal. It basically gives such, and I don't say this with detriment, but it gives a very linear way of storytelling where everyone is heading to one objective. And the way that it brings more tension into that is how it subverts that expectation. And I thought that was genius in more ways than one. I like how you were talking about the reserved explosions and all that. I wanted to, as an accompanying point, bring up the fact that there are moments where you think something's gonna happen, and there's an actiony way that it does, and then something else happens. I know that's very vague, but come on, you don't want me to spoil the movie, right? But it does that so well, where you'll be simultaneously crying, screaming, and on the edge of your seat. And I want to hit home the point that this movie, it gets emotional, and it does it really well for a Tom Cruise action movie. I mean, the first movie it got surprisingly emotional.
Yeah,
it did. I was taken aback by that, but this movie, because I can't even say it in the spoiler, but it just it does everything a sequel should in terms of taking what happens in the original, taking that groundwork, and just expanding it and writing off of it and doing it perfectly. And I think that's essentially what this movie is. It's a perfect sequel, and it can join the pantheon, that little pantheon in the sky of amazing sequels. Terminator 2, Aliens. What else is another perfect sequel? What do you think?
I mean, personally, to me,
Evil Dead 2?
I mean, yeah. I'd add on the director's last...
Tron Legacy.
Yeah, I'd add it on. And when I heard that he was directing, I was, so this is a guy who has experience doing a legacy sequel.
Didn't you hear that when we were sitting in there and I was like, you know who directed this, right? The guy who did Tron Legacy. Oh my god! He started freaking out.
And then I think before we started recording, you were like, he did Oblivion. I was like, oh, no wonder.
That's
because there was some moments where because it's Tom Cruise, I was like, wait, this shot reminds me of Oblivion. They remember the airships he had in Oblivion and some of the cockpit shots. I think that's where
it came from. Yeah. That would be
combat.
The genesis of this, and I think that it's like that was the start of it, and then in this he just perfected that. Oh my god! I mean, okay, let's just lightly touch on just the stunt work and the camera work and the editing. I read online that all of the characters, or all of the actors, they actually had naval flight training for this, and especially Cruise. I'm pretty sure some of the some of his scenes in the cockpit were actually him flying.
Jesus.
I wouldn't be surprised. Because I know on the way in, you were quite hesitant about liking the stunt work in this one, because you're a big fan of the first one.
Yeah,
and how
no,
they
yeah,
did the stunt work in
I
that.
enjoyed how practical the first movie
Yeah.
was. It had its moments, but whew,
But it's
this
like
one.
we were walking into this, and Dan he starts telling me that I tell him that I'm extremely excited how this movie is going to technically improve in terms of camera work, action, whatever, over the first one. They were like, yeah, this is mostly gonna be CGI. How do you feel now, Daniel?
Well, look, there was some CGI, but it wasn't like overly used or jarring.
That's it. It wasn't gratuitous.
Yeah.
It was used very smartly.
Like some of the cockpit camera angles where you can see, let's say,
That extremely wide angle.
oh, that wide angle, especially. There's a shot where, what's it called? Maverick's in a cockpit with his students, and you can see like his students behind him, like they're in their jets.
I
as well.
wanted to save that as a screenshot.
That was just
That was- yeah,
that was
yeah.
beautiful.
Amazing. This, like I said, and I keep saying it again, this movie just improves upon everything that the first one did, and I'm so thankful for it. But I think that concludes our spoiler-free section. So, right now, let's move into the spoiler section of our conversation.
And
So,
I've-
this is your last warning. We're going to talk about spoilers. Spoilers for Top Gun Maverick. This movie just came out. So, if you don't want to get spoiled, yep. I cried for the Lady Gaga song. That's all I want to say.
All I want to say is it's fucking Star Wars.
It's
and
Star
I
Wars!
love it.
It's Star
a
Wars!
new hope.
This movie is a new hope. Oh my god.
my god.
It's a new hope if you focused on the guy who was training all the X-wing pilots
Oh my god.
to do the job, to do the mission.
That and it's essentially a new hope. Oh well, it's spoilers not. It's a new hope and Obi-Wan doesn't die.
Yeah, and for New Hope as well. So spoilers for New Hope. There's in leading to that, one of my biggest takeaways of this movie is how smartly they used the structure and the expectations based on the people who've seen the first one. I'm so
Yes.
glad that I watched the first one the same day before going in to see this, because I caught everything. I caught everything and I understood everything. It was so good. Biggest thing. Essentially what you were talking about, this movie is basically, so you know how in heist movies, right? Where there's a big thing at the end of the movie, and all of the characters are like, okay, let's put together our team. Okay, and this is how we're going to do this.
Yeah.
In order to do this, we need to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we go for the big one. This movie is basically them training for the big one the entire film. And that's it. Everything else, every other side character story, maneuvering for editing or camera work, everything that they employ is in service of that main story. And I think that's, like, if you guys heard me in my spoiler-free review, it there's such a linearity to this plot, and everyone's on the same page all the time. And that's what, like, two things. It brings everyone to the same page, obviously, and makes everyone all invest into what's happening. But also, it gets people on this tension that's consistently rising, and everyone is on that. Again, it's genius, and I love it so much. And the closest thing I can compare it to is a heist movie.
It is essentially,
Where-
yeah.
They gotta get in, and they gotta shoot the missile into the 3 meter wide.
And I don't know. Prior to that, they have to do this freaking narrow ass what's
Obstacle
it called?
course,
Obstacle
twisty
weaving
turny.
through below the thing to avoid radar, which is what they were doing in on the Death Star.
When they were talking about, when they brought up the simulations and when they were talking about it, I was like, this looks familiar. I've seen this before.
The moment when they mentioned the bombing run,
Wait,
I was like,
they have to, and it's 3 meters wide. Yep, nope, this is Star Wars. This is my favorite Star Wars movie.
that isn't a Star Wars
That isn't
movie.
a Star Wars movie. I swear to God, this is insane. This is doing Star Wars homages better than any of the Marvel Phase 2 movies. Yeah, right. You know how they did the thing where they chop some guy's arm off in every Phase 2 movie. Yeah, this one. I mean, they didn't need to do that, but they ran with that feel of Star Wars. And it was so good. And it's basically Star Wars from the perspective of the guy who's coming in to train the X-Wing fighter pilot coming into, bomb the Death Star. And it was amazing.
It's like essentially that, and then also imagine if the guy coming to train them was Obi-Wan, and Luke is already part of the team, And by Luke, we mean fucking Goose's son from part one.
Because Jesus, like, oh my god, and it makes so much sense because the Anakin, his relationship with Anakin, and
And then he dies, and it's just...
This is essentially Star Wars, and it's the best. Like, it's like, I'm just gonna say this again. It's doing Star Wars homages better than the new Star Wars movies.
And it switched up in a way where imagine if Luke held Obi-Wan responsible for what happened to his father.
Yeah, if Luke knew.
Yeah, if Luke knew, and then like had this resentment towards Obi-Wan.
And they're all like gifted pilots, like Luke and Anakin.
And then I swear to God, in this movie there is a mantra in this movie which is basically use the Force.
Use the Force. No, but like I swear to God, it was essentially that, but not to any detriment of what either one of those phrases means to in their respective franchises, right? When that is brought up, oh my god, my eyes started to swell because I get that. I'm like, again, I was so glad that I managed to watch the first Top Gun before this because now I understand where it comes from. Like the points where in the movie, like spoiler, obviously we're doing a spoiler-free spoiler talk, but like the points where he'd be like, "Talk to me, Goose," and then I'm like, I'm fucking crying and then I swear to God, in that moment, you know what I'm gonna say next? Where
oh God,
wait, Rooster says it. It's like, "Talk to me, Dad." And
oh my God. There's that moment, and I don't want to cry right now. Fuck. That moment, and oh God. There's
what? Which one?
Okay, no. I kind of have to set up what happens before. So they bomb the thing. Mm-hmm. They successfully bomb the thing.
Oh yeah.
Maverick's part of the run. Maverick gets shot down. Great fucking air combat. Oh my God, the maneuvers when they bomb the thing and they have to get out and they're being targeted by the SAM missiles. There's this utter chaos and panic because they're doing all these maneuvers and using their flares and trying to escape the fucking missiles coming from everywhere.
This is me literally on the edge of my seat. That entire sequence, God. It is done so well. But like you said, it's controlled chaos. All of these explosions mean something. Every time you see something blow up, you hold your breath because you think it's someone dying. And then when it like cuts to the next one, you realize they're still maneuvering. These guys like, oh, it just goes back to the damn good editing of this just one sequence. Because basically that entire run is what the entire movie is building up to.
Yeah.
Like at every moment in that in the like run up to this moment. At every point in the run up to this moment, you're taught that this is the only thing that matters. Whatever happens, it's this mission, and then you get bombing, there, the bombing. You're just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. You're just like holding your breath. I don't know if I blinked at any moment in the scene. I don't know if I took a breath at any moment in the scene because it was just such good. Like, what do you call that thing? It's something, and then payoff. It's like the expectation. It's building, tension, and then payoff. And then, like, there's an early scene in the movie, like, I think it's the first, right? Where he's doing the test run for that new fancy jet, going Mach 10. And then, it's like the whole climb between Mach 8 and 10, you're just on the edge of your seat. And all he's doing is just, like, moving a lever faster and faster, and everyone's just like, holding their breath. And then, this is basically an analogy for how the movie works with its tension, right? What happens next is he reaches Mach 10, and then everyone's like, oh, thank God. Then he decides to push it further and further and further, and then that's what this movie is. There's a clearly defined goal that people are working up to, and then they get to that, and then there's so much tension getting around that like last 80% of the journey. Yeah. And then as soon as they get there, you're like, oh my God, they did it, and then they go further, and then you're like, oh my God, and then you're like
there was a moment where I realized so they do the bombing run. And then it's a success. They hit the target. Yes. They hit it again. Mission accomplished. And then I was like, "Oh fuck! They have to get back to the
now. They have to get out.
Oh,
now they have to be like be alive." And then that entire run, that chaos of missiles and flares and all of that is insane. And then you're just freaking out. And then oh my God! And then what happens next? I lost my shit even more. Like again, right? Okay, so you get that one scene where they finish the mission, and then you're like happy, and then they push it further, and then you're freaking out, and then they get out of there, and then they push it further, and then it just keeps climbing, and I can't stop freaking out about this that they keep doing that. They keep, like I said, goal, reach goal, go further. Another goal, reach goal, go further and further and further. And it just blew my mind at how every time they did that, it worked better than the last one. And it was just such... Like, the last 40 minutes of this entire movie have possibly been my favorite on screen in the entire year. Like, holy shit. It's just... This is masterpiece filmmaking. I swear, this is cinema at its finest. Like, you guys probably will get the movie on smaller screens later on. I just want to say you will be missing out on this experience. It's just... And then, sorry, I just cut you off when you were trying to get to your point, where after they crash down, and then they do this thing where they storm the base, the enemy base.
It becomes like a little slice of Mission Impossible Modern Warfare.
My God.
Because remember, there's so many well set up things to happen in the later on in the movie, because in the beginning of the movie they do mention that on that same base that they stormed there are some F-14s. When, if you're not familiar, the F-14 was the jets that they had in part 1.
Yeah.
So then I knew going in that oh my
God, just sorry, I really want to pause there. You brought up the fact that that's basically like the Millennium Falcon in Force Awakens, right?
Yes.
But I would argue that this moment way better than that. Because that moment was done with intertextuality.
Yes.
Because it was just selling it to the people who love Star Wars. You know that quick cut, oh, it's a piece of junk. And then they're running and it blows up, and then the junk will have to do. They turn around, camera just pans. It's the Falcon. And then it's like, oh my God. You can when you're watching that alone, you can hear every nerd. Day one when they went to see Force Awakens lose their shit.
It was like, that was obvious fan service. This was fan service that came out of nowhere.
And it worked so well. Man. It made sense with the story, and it provided so much more connection with the character and with Rooster. So if you guys didn't know, so Rooster is played by Miles Teller, and he's actually the son of Goose, who was Maverick's the second guy in the cockpit.
I forget what the actual name is, but they call him a Rio. But yeah, the guy behind them.
Yeah, so the guy behind. So like, that two people. Sorry for all the people who know jets. I'm sorry if I'm butchering this. Okay, there's two guys in the cockpit. There's one who's like the pilot. The other one's the navigator.
I think navigator and bomber.
Navigator and bomber. So that was Goose, and they were like thick as thieves in the first movie. They were such good friends. They were like together against the rest of the cadets in Top Gun, and then like at the end of the second act in the first movie, Goose dies out of nowhere, and then for the rest of the film you're just like crying and wondering, holy shit, I did not see this coming.
Because he was such a good character.
He was such a good character. And then the genius thing about Maverick is that his son Rooster, Bradley Bradshaw, stupid fucking name, sorry, but his son is in this. He's one of the main characters. Their entire relationship is based on this one event in the past, and all they're doing is addressing that until that final act, where they can work together and to solve this problem. And then, like, what you're leading up to, I'll let you finish the story, because if I do, I'm gonna fucking cry.
Oh God, I might fucking cry. So basically, so they get onto the base and they see the F-14, and I love this little moment. Prior to what I'm about to talk about, prior to that. Maverick is like explaining to him how to refuel this thing, because it's a very old jet from like 40 years ago. It's very analog. So he's like telling me, hit this switch when this thing tanks up, and then blah blah blah. You'll have to pull up the stairs up yourself and all that stuff. And then I didn't realize it. It didn't hit me. It didn't hit me until it happened, where Maverick is in the cockpit. And then Rooster climbs up behind him.
And then you're just nudging me, and I'm like, no! I know what's happening!
I'm like, dude. He's sitting where his father was sitting.
The same model plane.
Oh, God.
Yeah, no. Damn. Yeah, that was just... And it doesn't bring so much attention to it.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It doesn't put it in your face. For the people who've seen the original, they understand what this moment means. And then they're just like, and then there's more. There's more. Okay. They try to get out of there.
So much shit happens.
You think they're safe, and then and then more. That's basically this movie. That is essentially this movie.
Man.
That is. Oh my God, so damn good.
Like, I don't want to talk too much about it. I know this is the spoiler section, but
we can. And then at the end, they try to escape.
God.
And then they have to fend off two
very modern advanced jets in a jet from the fucking 80s. And the tricks and shit that they have to pull off. Hey, Maverick, you'll know it when you see it. He does that fucking trick that he does.
The Cobra.
Oh, man.
But no. Sorry, going back to that one moment when they're all in the firefight with the flares and the rockets. When he saves Rooster with the Cobra and flare maneuver.
Oh, man.
My God. There's one moment I just could, like, I could process what is happening on screen. It's just my mind was just like, holy fuck, that was so cool. And it's like loading. And it was just so well done.
Like, how I describe it is like you've seen how planes fly and you see what jets do in other movies. This is basically them doing stuff with jets, kind of.
No sane person would
kind of
do.
in a way how they use cars in
the
Fast and Furious, but not as reckless. But just the things and maneuvers they pull off.
No, that's a good analogy. But I wanna polish it up by saying, at least it makes sense in this movie. Because repeatedly you're told that these are the best of the best of the best, and then Maverick just comes in and makes them even better. And so all the maneuvers they do, however fancy, and I just want to make this point really clear. However fancy those moves are, it makes sense for what they're doing, one. And two, given who they're up against, those fancy maneuvers, they are literally just barely enough. They get out, but literally. Once you understand where they are and how, like, what it takes to do what they do, and then they get put in this situation where that is only just enough to get out by the fucking skin of their teeth. You understand how good they are, and it's genius. It's like another example of brilliant tension building. It's fucking.
Can I also just say that the entire premise of the movie, if you've seen part one, it's just written so smartly, because they're given this mission to pull off, and then because of the events of the first movie where it basically ends in an actual fucking dogfight, and then Maverick in that movie is the one who manages to shoot all of the dudes down. And then because of that in the first movie, he is seen as the only person qualified in the last 40 years who's seen actual dogfighting combat, who has actual dogfighting experience, and who has shot people down. Yeah. So it makes sense that they'd bring him to come and train these new guys. It just, it's just smart writing that makes sense, and it takes the information.
I love it when a movie does that. Yes. When they make sense, it's just brilliant. It's like I said, right? It's a sequel that's built on every good thing that the first movie did, and it had a lot of good things. Like, honestly, you know what? I'm glad that this movie didn't do.
What?
Awkward sex scenes.
Take my breath away.
Stop! I swear to God, they played that movie like 7 different times, and it was so annoying. Every time,
I'll be honest.
Every time that Charlie says something, I only liked you because of the information you had. Dun, 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 dun.
I'll be honest, that song and Danger Zone, I missed. Those were missed in this movie. But I'll be honest, there were moments in part one where those two songs fucking carried the movie.
I swear, Danger Zone. Okay, I started the movie, first 5 minutes, yeah, Danger Zone, and then like halfway through the movie, it gets played again like 5 more times, and like, okay, guys, I get it. You really like this song. I'm just, and also just, piling onto the thing that I liked about like gratuitous sex scenes. It's less PG than the first one. The first one is a lot more violent, and there's sexies in it, and this one it's almost incredibly wholesome, and I appreciated that so much, especially, and this I do like the character. It's just weird where she comes from, but Penny, Jennifer Connelly's character.
Yeah, Jennifer Connelly's
character. So it's just weird. This weird wealthy woman who comes in and just has conversations with.
Okay, so she's like an old friend of his who they've met from the past in the 40-year gap.
So I shouldn't be mad that I wasn't around to see the 40 years before this movie.
But what's it called? Like she owns a bar. And, like she's basically Maverick's love interest, which I think was handled very well. It's a nice mature relationship,
Very mature.
between like older people. So it's nicely handled. But we did point out like what the fuck is her job? I mean, we know she has a bar. She has a bar
and a yacht.
She's a single mother. She has a yacht,
a really nice house,
and she drives a Porsche,
like a really fancy ass Porsche. Also, I'll lead to this point in the end, but like I said, their relationship, it was just so wholesome. It was so well done. Like that entire montage where we all know what's happening. He used to talk to her about the mission, and you don't have any dialogue. There's just music playing, like scored music, and then they're just a couple of shots of them just standing on the beach and dancing. Oh my god, that hit me. Like, I swear to God, they were lining it up. They were that moment in that montage. They were lining him up to die. They were lining him up to die.
Oh my god! The way it was like, please don't die. Is he gonna die?
No, he's gonna die. He's gonna die.
Everybody's like, it was an honor serving with you, Captain. I was like, fuck you.
He's gonna like, and it would be perfect too, because there's no sequel plan.
Yeah,
there's nothing gonna happen after this. Tom Cruise is old now. He's probably not gonna.
Yeah.
Sorry. And then that was my head side of thinking, holy shit, he's actually
gonna kill him. Like,
and then his bird gets hit, and then you're freaking out. It actually happened, and then you're crying. And then he's like, oh, he's down. No, we can't go back for him. It's too dangerous. Get back to the carrier.
And then blackout.
And then black. And then I thought, if the credits roll right now, I would salute this movie, but also hate it so much. And then we see him in the snow, and I'm like,
God.
Oh, and then Rooster came back for him.
There's a moment where he wakes up, like he parachuted out. They say they didn't see a parachute, but yeah, he parachuted out. He ejected on the right time. He wakes up. He's in the snow. And then I remember what John Hamm's character said about we can't send in a rescue helicopter. And then I see this helicopter coming out in the distance. It's black as shit. And I realize, oh fuck, that's a Russian gunship.
No.
Oh god.
Bro, the way they framed it.
Yeah.
Actually terrifying. Holy shit.
Jesus Christ.
My god. And then Rooster saves him.
In fact, there's
and then
two.
The next half an hour is just
There's actually two. Now that I think about it, there's two mantras in the movie. There's "Talk to me, Goose," or "Talk to me, Dad," and "Don't think, just do."
Don't think, just do.
Which is basically, I don't want to say word for word, but that's basically the use the force. So with you.
It's used in all the right places.
Oh my god!
I hope I pressed record. I did.
Oh my god.
Okay.
But yeah.
Because I'm using the app, the DJI app to record. It's a lot better. A lot more options. But yeah. Woo! So good. And
I want to watch it again. I have to watch it again. I can't not.
I want to see it when it comes out on streaming, but then it just won't be the same experience. Holy shit. This is just okay. Let's do this. Final verdict. What do you think? And what is your thoughts to the audience?
It's the best Star Wars movie that isn't a Star Wars movie that I've ever seen. One of the best sequels to a movie that was made 40 years ago. Up there is one of my favorite Tom Cruise movies now.
100%.
One of my favorite movies with a jet fighting sequence, or just favorite jet fighting movie in general.
Yeah, but 90% of this movie is planes.
God. But yeah, no, it's just a really good fucking movie. I was asked earlier in the week what were some of my favorite movies of the year so far, and I think I hadn't seen this one. I hadn't seen Top Gun Maverick yet, but now after watching it, I definitely put it on that list now.
Absolutely, no, 100%. Same here. And I really wanted to bring this point up earlier. So, that volleyball scene.
Oh, yes, yes.
Let me do my point. So, that volleyball scene in the first movie, it's placing it's placing in the entire movie. It's editing, not the editing of the entire sequence. It's placing in the edit of the movie, right? So you get it at the beginning. Like, I'm pretty sure at the end of the first act, it's supposed to serve as like a sexy introduction to all these fighter pilots and their like chiseled abs and their moist bodies, right? So I thought that was just very gratuitous and agreed, very gay. Then it's the most interesting thing about this movie is that they recreate it. They recreate it. But the only thing is, well, maybe two things. Actually, no, they are very moist and very sweaty. But the main difference between this scene and it's a football scene now, right? So it's a football scene now. The main difference between this football scene and the volleyball scene in the first movie is just when it happens in this story and what its purpose is. So in the first one, like I said, it's to show off their chiseled abs and make them look cool. Ooh, playing volleyball, yeah. In this movie, it's done at a point in the movie where there is an emphasis on the fact that Cruise's character, Maverick, has to get all these guys ready as a team. Like I said earlier on in my review, the difference between one of the biggest differences between this and the first movie is that you have a bunch of characters who are working towards one single goal. It's the linearity of that. Whereas in the first movie, you have a bunch of characters vying against each other, trying to get a top spot. Only working together in the final, literally the final 20 minutes of the first Top Gun movie. That's like, oh shit, this is happening. So we got to work together to make this happen. In this movie, as an extension to that point, the football scene, now that it's called, does such a good job of being so wholesome and showing that these guys, they're almost like a family now. They're a team because they have to be if they're going to get this mission done. And I thought how they turned that around from the first volleyball scene, fucking genius. Absolute pure writing, orgasmic level writing for me. It was just, once I realized that, it took me a while. Like, I didn't see it first, and I was like, oh, a volleyball scene, like, quote unquote, and it has to be in here. It's wholesome now. And then, wait a minute. What it does and what it serves this story are different than the first one, just by virtue of where it's placed in the movie. And again, just mind fucking blown, the power of editing and placement of a scene. Genius. Because that happens right before the shit goes down. Wait, did it happen before the scare? The scare with the two...
After.
After, right?
Oh, no, sorry, before. It was before. It was
okay,
before
yeah.
the scare.
So that happened right before the scare.
Yeah.
That needed to happen to solidify how much the characters meant to us. And then there's just so many ensuing events after that that make you think that the character's gonna die. But you know what? None of them fucking die. And I'm not mad. And I don't think that that's a cop-out. I think it's just genius writing because there's so much foreshadowing. There's so much acceptance that a character's gonna die floating around in the air that you think it's gonna happen. Like you're set on it. It's probably gonna happen. And you wouldn't be surprised if it did. You'd be heartbroken because this movie spent so much time in successfully making you care about these characters. All of them. I can remember their names. I can remember Phoenix. I can remember Bob. I can remember Hangman. I can remember Payback. These characters, they're just so good. And the movie is just, like I said, does such a good job of making you care for them, making them matter to you. And then they drop that scene. And then the scenes that come after. And then for the next, after that moment, it's just you sitting in your chair trying not to shit your pants at everything that's happening on screen. And if that was my final verdict to the movie, sorry, my Tom Hanks voice was coming out. If that wasn't my final verdict to the movie, this will be it. Go see it. I will say that I don't think believe that I don't think people need to see the first one. They will respect it so much more. But it's one of those sequels that also works both ways. That, like I said, right? It introduces these new characters that you do spend so much time bonding with. The little things, the little intertextualities that aren't in your face, thank fucking God.
Oh, yeah.
They only mean so much more when you watch the first movie. I definitely recommend it, but if you see this in a movie, I mean, if you see this in the theater and you see it playing, go and watch it. You're gonna have so much fun. You're going to probably cry as much as we did and laugh. Because
there are some good comedy. The freaking what's it called?
Where am I? Earth.
There's that one. The hard ceiling, what do they call it? The barrier, the limit to how low you can fly.
I think I couldn't stop laughing because of that scene. Because oh my God, again, if you take that same structure of the tension, you get that joke and then it just goes. bro.
I'm a firm believer that Tom Cruise needs to do more comedies.
He does. he absolutely 100% motherfucking does need to do more comedy. The guy's a gold mine for it because the comedy bits in the Mission Impossible movies, they are so good. They work so well. And all of that experience, I think, from him especially, as probably producer, actor, carries on in this flawlessly. I mean, we didn't even mention how well the tones complement each other. How it can be serious and how it can be funny and how it can be both. And then you can be crying and laughing at one point. I will finish this off, like I swear this is my last take on this, but I will finish this off by saying this movie has no right to be as good as it is. So, for anyone watching, please go see Top Gun Maverick and have so much fun with it. Final thoughts? Same? I don't know.
I just want to add that one other comparison I want to say is that it has that vibe of those sports movies where it's the underdog team going up against the best team in the league, you know?
Yeah.
It definitely has that vibe.
Like, it has that vibe, but it doesn't have that, like, hard structure to it, or it's not extremely reminiscent of it. It's almost homage-y, slightly so, you know,
like same. It's just
and now we can just go over what we've been up to. We've been busy. I've been tracking the traction from that last episode of Narc Culture, which everyone seems to enjoy and civilly comment on with their very well-researched opinions
and well-written grammar as well.
Yes, well-written grammar. It's no, it's great. It's great. We're working on a special treat for you guys. It's probably going to be in the next episode, just because a couple of things happened in the last few days that we weren't in control of. So this episode was just meant to be a really, really hyper-focused discussion about Top Gun Maverick, because A, deserves that. Honestly, go see it. God. And B, we just wanted to save and work on some of the content that we have in the bank for you guys. So right now, I guess we can go over some of the stuff that we have been up to. Daniel, how about you? Just quick bullet points.
I've been pretty busy with the New Net podcast and working on that.
No, doing that.
I think there was a thing that happened on Friday that I couldn't attend, and we'll probably talk about that in the next episode. The art activism night.
Oh my God! Yeah, we didn't.
Yeah. Well, we'll definitely brush up on that on the next episode. I wasn't there for that because I had to handle the edit for the New Net podcast, but. Been busy with that. I also recently got my hands on some new hardware, which might let me be able to finally get more into animation now. So that's gonna be fun.
Oh, nice! Wait, what did you get?
Oh, I got I have a desktop now.
Oh, nice! That's good.
Yeah,
okay, that's
something
helpful.
more powerful.
It's powerful, definitely more powerful.
Oh yeah, more powerful than the laptop.
Nice.
Now I can finally focus on animations.
Okay, good.
I'm aiming to do a short animated film. Which is kind of like the big goal for this year, this next couple months with this.
For the next
new hardware.
Art activism.
That's the goal, actually. I want to show it at the next art activism night.
Nice. No, I have something I'm working on for that too.
Yeah. But I think after what you said about how heavy some of the topics were and confronting was, I'm like, okay, then I can make mine even more heavy and confronting.
Yeah, no, dude, go all the way with whatever it is that you're putting together. Sorry, just to catch everyone up, I attended the Art Activism Night hosted by Nelson Kakoa, which was also the Mosby Arts Theatre Club night on Thursday, the 26th of May, and I cried a lot. So, yeah, because there was just a lot happening on stage, and seems I've been doing that a lot this week, crying, especially with this and Top Gun, and just my own crying at home. That's up there too. Yeah, so it's great stuff. I'm still putting my thoughts together for that. I'm gonna make a separate thing for it. Definitely, we're gonna talk about it next one. But in terms of what I've been doing a lot more research into some content that I'm actually putting together later on. So I can't really discuss that just yet. And I hate it when my piercing is unbalanced. I can't. It's balanced?
Mr. Potter.
It's balanced? Is it balanced?
Yeah.
I played both Doom and Doom Eternal.
I finally converted one successfully.
And I've lost my shit about how good both of them are. And I am putting together reviews for them. What else have I been doing? I've been doing a lot more iPad gameplay. I'm putting together my first playthrough of the first chapter of Batman Telltale series on iPad. I'm going to put that out quite soon. Hopefully you guys will enjoy that and watch that and like it. But that's up to you. What else? Yeah, nothing much. Just a lot of work. And, you know, in the freelance space, it's just a lot of me waiting for clients to pay me. Yawn. Oh well, but apart from that, been a good week. This one's been preoccupied with work and stuff, so that's why we've missed out a couple weeks. But we'll be back very shortly. But hey, I guess that brings us to the end of this episode. Thank you guys for watching. Any closing remarks, Daniel, on life or whatever?
My only advice for everyone to take in like mantra and whatever they want to do for this coming week. Don't
think.
Just do.
Also, be very careful. It's election time. People are crazy.
Oh, yeah. Jesus.
And have a good and safe one. We'll catch you on the next one. Now I need to bring out my closing spiel. Damn it! Where did I put my closing spiel? I have to open my Notion. Steven Spielberg. Pretty sure I have it memorized. Okay, I'll try it. Thank you for watching, everybody. This has been Not Culture, the podcast. It is a no, I'm doing the intro fucking again. I got it. There we go. Nope, that's new net. There we go. Okay. Found it. Okay. Got it. Okay. Thanks for listening, everybody. Not Culture is hosted and recorded by Daniel Levi and Godfreyman Captigal. It's edited by myself, and we'll have music that is created by the Clueless Panda on very soon, because I've actually done the thing to ask him to redo our music. And we've got new episodes out every time they're out, because we're still working on that schedule. But we hope you enjoyed this one, and we'll see you all in the next one. Don't think, just do. Okay.